What up, G? What up, what up, what up? Slap the second entry. So, we have money printer. No top wick on the current hourly. But we're rejecting VWAP so nicely. It is 30. We didn't really close below. We're respecting these levels here. But we are coming down. Although this might seem like a nice scalp down. What's up, Doc? What's up, Nick? Yeah, it happened within the first 30 seconds of stream. I shorted here for 10. Yeah, I was looking at sells here. I think that was very clean. I went to the bathroom. I didn't see how we rejected VWAP so cleanly. It looked like we were about to fly past it. So I didn't think... What up, Jonathan? How are you, bro? How was your guys' date today? Doing well, man. Doing some contract engineering work as of late still. I'm kind of brain fried. I feel you. So, I did 4 years of engineering. And then I decided to quit before I finished school. And then when I went into HVAC with my family, my uncle uses AutoCAD or whatever the program is. I don't even remember anymore. And he makes our plans. And then people pay him to restructure engineering plans for HVAC. And I'm like, damn, the shit I got away from is the shit I gotta learn to eventually do again. I learned how to make like cubes, and then you add the little square on the inside, and then you protrude it, and then you give it that 3D dimension, and then you give it the dimensions that you want, and then you can 3D print it if you want. Yeah, so I learned, I was certified in AutoCAD and damn, sounds like Reddit, but it's not. Oh, you said it, Revit. Yeah, the easiest one is AutoCAD. All the other engineers use something a little bit different, and then we use the easier one that we learned, that my uncle learned how to use, and then my cousin is learning how to do the plans, and then I'm next in line. All I remember is you had all of your little features up here, and I would go like this. I'd make my little cube. I would draw the inside, and then I would right click, and then I would hit the whatever, and then I would twist it and then make it into like a cube with a hole in the middle. And because basically all we had to do was just make a bunch of like nuts and bolts and simple shit like that. Inventor, that's what it was. Yeah, I really, really, really wanted to be an engineer so bad. I did 4 years, and then even in high school I did drafting and design as well, and we also did woodwork where we were building bridges and shit. So like I went full force to be fully into that, and then like last minute I was like, I don't know, I don't feel like it. Nice. I don't do the calculations for HVAC and stuff like that. The plumbers are the ones that run our water pipes, I believe. That's some pretty cool stuff. You probably see a lot of HVAC stuff. You have a friend of mine who I think he's on his year 5 or year, yeah, this is his 5th year. No, sorry. This is his 5th year working. But yeah, it took him about like 5 years to get out. I have a cell stop here. Mini splits, I install those all the time. I don't install them myself, we subcontract the installers. I'm closing here at break even. I'm gonna wait for this to break out. Let's wait for this hourly closure and see what happens. So this is my plan. I'm trying to get rid of my house, cash in on my equity, invest it into some treasuries and securities, lock in a decent 6-7% return on my money, wait a couple years, wait till either the economy crashes so hard that I can build something real cheap, or I can buy something real cheap. But ideally I want to build something. Would I need a structural engineer? just gapped up here. Volume has entered the chat. Yeah, so we have a lot. We have a lot of connections. So like we have builders and stuff like that, and they built a lot of houses. And my uncle liked one of the designs, and he just took it, bought it off of them, and then he went on AutoCAD himself, and he changed around a couple of ideas, sent it back to them for a revision. I think they charged like $500 for a revision or something. I don't know what they charge. He sent them over a revision after he did his own, you know, like little designs and shit that he wanted to add and to change into, and he did some work, and then they revised it. What tends to happen if we gap up or gap down? Just volume. If it's a big gap, big volume. If it's a little gap, little volume. I don't know. Look at how we gapped here. From the opening to the close here, and we dumped, and we just gapped here, and we hit VWAP. So a couple things could be happening right now. We have a gap here, 4 pips. Big dog Nate. Big dog Nate in the building. What are you, so I can call you a girl or a man? What are you? What are you, so I can call you a girl or a man? What are you? Oh, I see why my phone's acting up. No wonder my phone is so slow. All I have is screenshots of trades. What up? Yo, 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 yo. We're starting to break out here. This previous hourly doesn't have a bottom wick. This hourly just closed. We're coming up here without a bottom wick. What are you doing here, Goldilocks? Huh, that was a very clean money printer, but that happened so fast. There was not a time, not a split second to get into that. So we are in chop zone, choppy chop zone. This range that we're stuck in right now is 243 pips. So this is basically a daily range here. Respected the lows, we're coming up and we're creating lower highs respecting these new lows that we created here. We have yet to break above this top half without rejecting. We drove 80 pips and then rejected. Try to break out, rejected. Try to break out, rejected. Try to, rejected. Try to, rejected. So now, here, we're starting to form lower lows and lower highs, right? We just formed a minor low here. Let's see what happens. Are we gonna break structure and start coming back up to retest these levels and see if we can get another breakout? Or are we gonna get some sort of fake out? Maybe a little fake out like this. Break a structure, fake out, closure back into range, dump. So there's a couple of possibilities here. Both are interesting. So we just broke back above the VWAP. We closed above, we came back, we retested it. This hourly's flipping bullish. We're coming up to grab a top wick for this previous hourly here, which is 5 pips away from this level here. That was a good closure on some sells. Interesting. Sucks that I'm not in that. I was looking for a buy stop there. Alrighty, if we're coming up to re-break this daily high here, we have a lot of resistance here, so you gotta be careful. I was 100% looking for buys there. The thing is that on the hourly flip, I was trying to weigh out my options, right? We only had 5 pips here before the hourly no top wick. This is a very strong level where price could have rejected from. Maybe we make like a 3 pip top wick, and then we reject back down. I had no idea how far that top wick was gonna be, right? So ideally, I wanted to get in somewhere down here. So by the time that we're up there, that's 20 pips away. And then it doesn't matter how far we make that top wick. I'm already break even or closing out of the trade, right? So I was like, all right, do I want to risk 5 pips before possibly going break even? And then I'm probably not going to go break even. I'm going to hold a little bit. So I was trying to see what my ranges were and where I could possibly target. And I was like, I guess I can target this wick here for 16 pips. And maybe these levels here. But I was like, that's only going to give me like max of 20 pips of where I'm really looking to like get an entry down here, or if I'm aiming all the way up here, I got 40 pips. So even if I get slipped, even if my entry's a bit late, I have like 40 pips of range I could take advantage of. So this one was a pretty clean buy stop here. but it was the range that kind of made me hesitate. I was like, before our first rejection here is only 5 pips, bro. Here, my first rejection was like 15 pips away. I don't think this is much of a daily bottom wick, but who knows? We don't need that shit. Price don't give a flying fuck. Normally, I would take rebreaks of the high here. But I don't like these levels here. It's not a rebreak of the high into clean traffic. Look at this shitty no bottom wick here. And we have come to a very strong level of resistance. Imagine if I didn't close these cells break even. This would have been a pineapple here. Or that would have been 99 pips of drawdown. Yeah, I need to get above this level, closure above, retest into these levels, and then a rebreak of the high. I can take buys to fill out the range, right? We have 50 pips on to finish out this range here. We have 50 pips. So if price can rebreak the high and do something like that again, I can take a quick scalp to the highs here. Worst case, if price starts to pull back, we know that the VWAP is a very strong level of support, and this will start to scoop up as price starts to move up. So if we do get a bounce off of it, we can take another entry. That's what I'm looking for. But see how we're going up with a bunch of no bottom wicks? I didn't want to take any continuation buys there because the buys didn't look like this. Break above, down, push. You get that pullback, boom, push. Pullback, boom, push. This is weak. Not really weak, but this is the only decent one. I mean, this one, it's got to be into clean range. Like, see? Clean range. Rebreaks of the highs into clean range. Rebreaks of the high into clean range. It's probably why these cells didn't work. I probably needed to take a wick entry instead of waiting for structure and then a break. That only gave me 12 pips on the structure, and then on the wick entry gave me 25 pips. So even here, if I would have taken a wick entry off the VWAP, we got 11 pips on that pullback there. I judge it based off the previous rejections, right? See how here it caused 75 pip rejection. The second time that we retested it, it caused a 40 pip rejection. So I was like, all right, this one we should catch half that, and it did. It did half that. 80, 40, 20, 10, and then it took off. See what our 4 hours looking like. All right, so we have major support here, major resistance here. If we start to close above this level here and use that as support, we could see another retest of these highs here. Look at how we've just been chopping here. Is this Asian session on a Tuesday the one that's gonna break us out? What up, Jay? Good to see you having your power back, enjoying your life with power. Yeah, we got power back at 7:50 this morning, and it's been so nice. We're good, thank God, thank the Lord Jesus, amen. What the fuck was that, bro? Was that an alien or some shit? Whoa. Was that a wee whoop? Wob 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 wob. Holy crap. Look at this push. Can we get a pullback? See, if this setup happened right here, I would have taken that buy stop. We're having a 15-minute closure. Let's wait for this 15-minute closure, see if we can close above all these most recent resistances, and then we just need a slight little bottom wick, and we can take a wick fill. Holy crap, dude. 51 pip instant dump. Holy shit. $15 seconds for the 15-minute closure. Let me get this fucking alien out of the way. Fuck out of here, pussy ass alien. You're nothing for my 9mm. Depends. Are we gonna form support here? Are we gonna respect the support? It looks like it's not. This is the last level it could support for buys. If not, it looks like it is gonna start to come down. The way this 15 closed, we have no bottom wick, so this bottom wick might be super steep. There's no way I could take sells because I don't have, I mean, we don't need a top wick because of how steep this previous wick is. I really don't have a setup here unless it was like a sell here. Let's see what it does. Are we gonna start to form support here and then trickle back up? It's been 1 month and I still don't know how trading works. Brother, It's been 5 years and I still don't know how trading works. I'll tell you one thing. I'm going to tell you some pretty basic principles that is going to make your journey easier. First of all, you want to stick to one strategy, and that one strategy you want to first of all, you don't want to hop around. You don't want to hop around between options and futures and forex and binary and crypto and meme coins and da. You want to, unless you're seasoned, you want to choose one and stick to it. Second of all, you also want to learn a strategy. That's one big thing that took me forever to understand. It wasn't just watching video after video on how you have to put a system together. You have to put a way of entering and exiting the chart together. Your analysis could be the same as everybody else, but the way you enter needs to be a way that you create, a way that you figure out. So you take support and resistance and you learn only support and resistance, and you figure out your entries on and off of support and resistance. You see somebody else take a breakout entry, that's not my trade. My trade is off of support or off of resistance. And you stick to one strategy and you don't do anything else. So this is the key factor. I'm going to explain to you how it's all the same thing. You see how people trade trend lines? Trend line break, closure, break to the upside. People trade that support and resistance. Support, double bottom off support, break to the upside. Double bottom off support, break to the upside. People that trade ICT probably saw manipulation and then they were looking for an inverted fair value gap or a fair value gap tap or an order block tap to take continuation buys to the upside. So instead of taking sells here, ICT was looking at taking buys here as the for inverted fair value gap. So you see how all these three strategies, because it was at the correct level, said buys. And it doesn't matter what strategy you use. It matters identifying the context of the market and what the market is doing. And if you're at the proper level, you use your ICT setups, you use your DVS setups, you use your supply and demand setups, you use all these other setups, all these other strategies to get your entry and exit. But you have to figure out how to analyze the market. You're saying, okay, price is starting to come down here. We're starting to respect support. It looks like we haven't closed below this support. It looks like we're closing back into range. It looks like price is starting to wick at these levels and failing to drive down. So it's tried to drive down many times and it's failing. Now price is starting to drive up. It looks like price is probably starting to reverse here. And then you see that sign of a push bullish and you're like, all right, cool. How can I get into this push? And that's when you start to look at your ICT, your DVS, and your blah, 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 to figure out how you can actually get into the push. But you have to figure out how to analyze the market, and then you use whatever you want to enter the market and exit. So, no, I started trading in 2020 options. And I was like, what the fuck is this? And they're like, oh, bro, you got to learn the Greeks, bro. And I'm like, the Greeks? Bro, I speak English. He's like, no, bro, you don't know what the Greeks are? Like, no, I don't know what anything is, bro. All I know is that I was getting scammed off of crypto, and now I'm doing options. What is this? And then I did options for like a year, 2 years, and then I saw Dawn, and then I was like, I can use what Dawn is teaching on options. And then I did options for like a year fully. So I learned for like 2 years, and then I did options for like a year, and then I used the money that I made off of options and I put it into my forex account, and then I flipped my forex account 450% on year 3, And then I used all of that money to try to get funded and do that on a funded account, and I ended up losing all of the money on funded accounts because I didn't understand what trailing drawdown was. And I was like, this is so different than Forex, bro. The whole transition back into futures took me like a year to really get down pat and figure everything out. The trailing drawdown, the brokers, the commissions, and this, and that. And then I started getting funded again. Well, I started getting funded afterwards. And then that's where I'm at now. Finally figured out all the future rules. I pretty much got futures down pat. Got the funded situation down right. And now it's time to grow these accounts and over the long run withdraw all that money and pour it into my live account. But like full-time trading Forex and futures, like not like full-time, but like fully head first learning it, like 2 years. The other times I was like using whatever I learned off the streams and trading options with it. And then I realized options are fucking stupid. And the only times that I ever made money, I had to like spend $700 on an option call and then be in drawdown $500-600 and then finally make like $200-300 on it. And I'm like, what the hell? Price didn't even move, but the premiums or the whatever the cost to buy the options changes as well as the price. So you're like, oh, so not only is price causing me to lose money, theta and delta and all this other shit is also causing me to lose money, and the actual value of the contract is less. So it has 3 different things that you're like, what the fuck? So after I realized that options and futures wasn't it, or options wasn't it, I was like, all right, it's time to go into trading. But like on the funded account this week, I'm up $688. And what day is today? Tuesday? I mean, that's fucking amazing. I got a place in Spain too. Jay is the GOAT. See, this is the people who actually make it in trading already kind of had a little bit of money before they started trading. Or at least something going. Ike. Yo! What up, Ike? Your name got lost in there. How are you, bro? I hope you're doing good. I hope you're doing good. Before I got into trading, I already had a business. I already had a house. I already had a positive net worth. But don't be fooled. I'm a brokey. No, how? I hope you're good, bro. As long as it's just the bike, bro, and not you, dog, you're fine. All it takes is a week-long win streak, and you've made your moolah back. Bahrain. No siree. Are we gonna start coming back down here after being gay? So even if I would have gotten stuck in cells here, 133 pips, taking pineapples probably here, taking a pineapple probably there. The average would have probably been here. Yeah, this is easy profits already. I was watching, I'm getting into like coin collections and like buying silver and shit, and like I was watching some guys from like Trinidad who came to the US to buy gold and stuff because the premiums are so high over there. And they're like, oh, you guys must be at the beach all the time. And they're like, nah, I never go to the beach. And it's like the same thing here in West Palm. Like, I live in Palm Beach, and the beach is like a mile from me, and I just never go. So even if like you live in Paradise, if you live there long enough, I go to the beach, but I prefer to be at my house, to be honest. What up, Nadeem? How are you? Damn, bro, it is real late for you guys. It's so early for me, bro. Bro, as long as you're good, bro. As long as you're good. That's all that matters. You're alive, and you live to trade another day. You live to make that all back in trading and more. That was the world telling you, hey, bro, you haven't made $1 million trading yet. You can't go until you do so, bro. It's like you haven't robbed Apex or the prop firm that you're trading with for all they got. Not yet. You need to bankrupt them before you go. What are we doing here? We're literally pivoting right here off the VWAP. I'm circling back to spin the block on Apex. Top one first though. Apex gave me 2 codes for 2 free accounts because they shut down my evaluation code. Not my discount code. They're reserving their code for people who make like 1,000 sales a month or more. And I'm like, hell no. I have like 20 sales a month. So, what I'm probably gonna do is not now. I'm focused on growing this 300K and getting it paid out. And then the other one trade it in the background and try to catch my drawdown trades in it and grow it at the same time. But since I have 2 codes, I'm gonna try to pass a couple of accounts. And then maybe I can have like 1.2 million in funding. But I'm not going to waste my time doing that when I have a live account already and I can just keep trading the 300K funded. And then just have multiple accounts in the background, just chilling, just giving me peace of mind, bro. Alright, so on this, as soon as we close here, let's see what we do. So we have a 30-minute closure coming up. This hourly has no top wick. This previous 30-minute has no top wick. And we're coming up to, it looks like we're creating a fat money printer here to flip bearish. If this is like decent liquidity, we can literally flip bearish here. So I'm looking to see how I can get into this sell as this 30 closes. Ideally, I wanted to be in here. It might plummet as this 30 closes. I need a top wick on the 30 and then a rebreak of that 30 low. Oh, are we going to close back above there? Uh-oh. That just kind of ruined the idea a little bit. No, we had to stay below VWAP there, bud. Let's see if we close back below. Oil on the road? Bruh. That's like a freak accident. I had 2 of my boys that passed away on bikes, and both times it wasn't their fault. Somebody pulled out in front of them. Yeah, I'm not trusting buys. Look at the hourly money printer. Baby, come back. You can blame it all on me. Please give me an entry and don't try me. Pull back, pull back, pull back, pull back, pull back, pull back. Give me a pullbackula. Let's be patient and not greedy bastards. I'm gonna wait for that minute to close. WJ for a WJ. WJ and Eddie smoking a WJ. The hourly just flipped bearish. This is the hourly bottom wick here. Our impulsivity would have screwed us there. So I have two ideas here, right? That 30 flip is kind of interesting. I wanted to sell maybe off a VWAP there. What kind of pullback did that give us? If I was gonna have an entry off a VWAP there, would have been a sell limit. This is where we took off from, right? I'm not liking how the hourly is telling me bearish, the 30 minute is telling me bullish, the 15 is telling me bullish, this 5-minute flip is looking bullish, the 3-minute is looking bearish, the 2-minute has closed all the way back into range and is giving us a big ass top wick. So I'm getting different analysis of all these time frames. I'm a little confused right now. One thing that I forgot to say earlier, one big thing with profitability is that you could know exactly what you're doing and have the profitable strategy and the edge, but your psychology can literally mess you up and cause you to lose it all, because you know what you're supposed to do, but you disregard the plan and you go against it. And that's why a lot of us make bad mistakes and end up losing a lot of money or blowing accounts, because you went against the plan. You know what you're supposed to do. You have the holy grail strategy. You have it. You know exactly what it takes to do it, but you fuck it up. Behind closed doors, when no one's watching, when you're not talking to your mentor, when you're not trading with your buddies, you fuck it up by not following the plan. By letting your ego take over and not following the plan. It happens to all of us. It happens to me all the time. But every time it happens less and less. So when I go up and my big ass dump is there, my next big ass dump is here, my next big ass dump is here, my next big ass dump is here. But what do you see? You see an upward trend. Yes, I do go back really fucking far sometimes, but the trend is always upward. Alright, I'm gonna have a sell stop here. On this hourly regular low. Yeah, it could have been 10 pips earlier, but the daily flip. Yeah, I do HVAC. I'm gonna delete this. It can drive. I don't like how this is not moving and it's trickling down. I don't like how this 5 minute hasn't created a top wick. I don't like how this 3 minute closed no bottom wick right at this level here. I don't like our daily open right here caused the dump, right? So the fact that we came here and we rejected the daily open for the hourly flip, we should see a dump. I might be a little scared. Yeah, there it goes. Five also closed, no bottom wick, no top wick, no bottom wick. Yeah, that's ugly. So that would have been 10 pips on the dot, went break even. And that, if this candle creates a top wick, that would be taking us out of the break-even trade if it didn't slip me there. That's exactly what you should be doing, working on these concepts. And you're like, oh, I noticed price did this. And there's full TP. Damn. I kind of chickened out there, to be honest. Think I was looking too much.
No, but how could you have taken that? The last five had no bottom wick, and then in this new five, they didn't get a top wick to start. So
the entry would have been. The entry would have been right before, like the minute candle before that 5 closed. This one.
At 8:39.
Yeah, it would have been as this candle was flipping bearish. The sell stop was right there. It would have activated, put us like 4 pips in profit. That 5 would have closed, and then dumped down to 10 pips in profit, and then I would have went break even. This wick might have taken me out if it slipped me. That's one thing that I didn't get to quite see. But yeah, I was looking for the sell stop like right here. So I wouldn't have seen that. So the 5 was 100% why I didn't enter afterwards. But I think the entry that I was looking at would have been activated before that 5 even closed. So I would have just had to have waited. So it drove 25 pips from the sell stop, which isn't ideal. I would like it to go more. Holy shit.
We got volume. Yeah.
This candle just flipped 30 pips in 1 second.
It's moving. And it just came back down again. Look at what the hell's going on.
Whoa. Close below. Wick to the upside. It's coming down. What do we have here? So it basically almost tried to grab that top wick for the 5. This is what we saw last Asian session, right? Some shit like this, and then price just went one way for 800 pips. So yeah, this candle, trash. Trash. One minute for this 15 closure. I canceled my sell stop at 33.24. No, that was the TP. $25.7. So yeah, my sell stop was right here. So as this candle flipped, it would have activated it, drove all the way down, and then came back. So we just drove into an hourly support. This hourly support is not too strong. I already have it. How do I log in? What do you want me to, what do you want it to say? Oops, I didn't put the exclamation. Ice cream for bears vanilla. Hey, I'll tell you one thing. I'm gonna attempt a sell stop here. I'm just gonna enter. I'm liking the way this is flipping to come down and retest the daily lows. And that's 10 pips. That was fast as fuck. I'm sorry if you didn't catch that. I was slacking. I was gonna say I was waiting for this 1 minute candle to give me some movement, right? I wanted to see what this 5 minute was gonna do. And then as we had that volume pushed down, I was gonna set a sell stop here, but then the volume pushed again and it eliminated the sell stop. So when I saw that top wick, I decided to try to enter a sell stop again, but then it flipped bearish again, so I just market executed. So this idea here is exactly what I was looking for right here. I wanted it to fill the range here. I wanted it here to fill the range here, right? Now that we filled the range here, we can wait for a higher time frame closure. We just had a 5 minute no bottom wick closure, but it's still a closure nonetheless. It just means there's not much range for a continuation down, but it doesn't mean that it can't pull back, grab liquidity, and then continue down, right? We have a lot of levels here. I'm going to wait for this 9 o'clock candle to close. Let me use the bathroom real quick and probably roll another one. How's your instant account coming along? W on your New York wins. I'm targeting 5% before taking any withdrawals. One thing that I watched a podcast today, right, with the guy that withdrew $2 million from Apex. And one thing that he said that interested me was, he's like, when Apex had the 30%, when Apex has their 30% max profit, he's like, in a day, I made $5,000. Which means I had to make $15,000 before I was able to request a withdrawal on the account because of the 30%. And he's like, but I didn't care. My goal was to grow the account and just test my skills and grow it. And then once he got to the 15,000, boom, he took out the max $5,000 withdrawal. Or the max $3,000 withdrawal per account, and left a buffer and let the buffer grow. And then he just withdrew $126,000 per account after 45 trading days. So you can set a target for the long run, or you can set a target for the cash grab. And you can make your decision, because at the end of the day, none of that shit matters. All that matters is money in your pocket. Like, for example, my goal is to build a buffer, make the first 1,000 past the buffer, withdraw the 1,000, and then since I'm at the buffer already, I have basically 8 trading days where I can withdraw the funds. And if I'm making anywhere between like 500 or like 300 and 500 a day, every 8 days I can withdraw the max 3,500 every 8 days. There's only 6 trading days in a week, so or 5, so I would have to get a withdrawal every like 12 days. And it's just stacking short, consistent base hits. Because we're going to get it. We're going to do all of our firsts here on stream. Pure documentation all the way through. That's fine. I could only get a withdrawal every 12 days, so that's basically every 24 days. Because it's every 8 trading days in a month, I'll only be able to do it every 16 trading days, which is basically like every 12 days, almost 2 weeks. Habla de tanque. ¿Qué lo que, manito mío? My boy Chris went to jury duty today, and he told them I'm a Forex trader, and they're like, ah, shit, we don't need your opinion, and they kicked him out. They're like, ah, shit, he's here to recruit us to an MLM. They're like, this is not a recruiting event. Have a wonderful day. Thank you. They're like, ah, shit. He's probably going to be telling us, hey, do you want to know how to make passive income? All you got to do is go to my event. Trader or a trainer? I'll trade you some trading lessons for you to sign me the fuck out of this bitch. Even if we would have gotten stuck in that first sell that I closed break even, we would have been in major profits on it, taking pineapples. Maybe I would have preferred being in drawdown tonight. Yeah, it's a hit or miss for me if I tell people that I trade or not. My family, they all fuck with it. When I talk to them and I tell them what I'm doing, holy shit. We got 30 seconds here. Let me spark this and have a nice celebration for this countdown timer in 29. If we break those lows, if the first thing that we do on the hourly is come up, create a top wick, and then re-break the daily lows, I'm in there like swimwear. Need a top wick. Give me a top wick, you pussy. Don't be gay. Don't be an LGBTQIA+. I'm just kidding. No offense. Please don't take offense. LGBT TV. Ugh. Need a top wick. This hourly could easily be respecting here, money printer the other way. Same even though it's not technically a money printer. It's 30 no top wick, closing respecting, pulled back into range. This is sus among us. See if we can start looking for some buys here. Alright, I'm just gonna enter a buy right here. There we go. I'm looking for a push up to the VWAP here. If I didn't market execute there, I would have had a buy stop on that 1 minute flip and it would have activated either way. I haven't drank water all night. I need some liquidity, bro. What are we doing here? That's not the way you're supposed to go, my friend. Okay, we're dumping and we're breaking the lows here. Completely opposite. Are we going to mimic this exact move the other way now? Nice, bro. I don't like this. That's a beautiful sell, bro. Good shit. Did you have prior entries or you stacked all four right here? Because you stacked all four there, you stacked sells where I had buys. We're like wedging here. This is creating lower lows, lower highs. For this to pull back, this is a lot of movement for 6 minutes. Where's our next hourly level here? Looking to see how I'm gonna manage risk here. My idea for the buys was the hourly flipping bullish and continuing bullish after creating this bottom wick and respecting these levels here. That was the initial idea. Yeah, this is not pretty. I would look to see what happens here to add another entry, but if price breaks these lows and continues plummeting below, I'll most likely have a closure somewhere in these ranges. I'm not looking to hold for like 200 pips. Let's see, we have an hourly level here that we can possibly get some decent rejections off of. But the way that this is forming lower lows and lower highs, it would most likely have to get down to that level before pulling back and rejecting. Unless it just decides to fly up. The idea here was for once we had this scoop here, the rejection here, to take the continuation, and then my target was VWAP here. Nice. Yeah, I got faked out here. Five-minute closure below, top wick first. How steep is this top wick gonna be? We have a 15-minute closure coming up, which would be the first 15-minute closure cleanly closing below, whereas this 15-minute pulled back and respected. What are we gonna do here? We're gonna get another scoop here. If we get another scoop here, it's still straight. But it's got to push hard. Like this 15 re-break of the highs, how many pips is that? That's 5 pips. Is it even gonna get there? That's the hourly flip bullish again. Hourly flip bullish one more time. 30-minute flip bullish. 15-minute flipped bullish. We broke that high completely. I just don't see why we shouldn't just fly right to TP here. We scooped once again. Lower to the VWAP here. And now we are, oh, damn, I was gonna go break even there. What a dump. What time frame closure was that? That's the 2-minute close respecting once again. Wow, the 3-minute no top wick. And that's a closure. It's all about trusting your own analysis and saying, hey, I'm willing to hold 100 pips of drawdown before going to TP. If somebody else is in a sell, that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm wrong. They could be smacking 50, 60, 70 pips of profit before I take a pineapple and eventually get to my target. There's nothing wrong with taking opposite entries. Everybody either won or was in profit. It really is hard not to take other analysis into account. But the extra pressure of ignoring that and working against that, I mean, bro, it's like extra resistance at the gym. It's like putting more weight on the bar. The more weight you put on, the better you get. The more pressure you're under, the better you're going to get. The more disciplined you are, the better you're going to get. It's just adding weight to the bar. Give it all. Give me. One time, I was struggling real bad, bro. And I was like struggling with my trading. And I was like, bro, I'm avoiding pain. Avoiding taking a loss. I'm avoiding the process. And all I said was, Lord, give me all the smoke. Give me all of it. Put me under all the pressure necessary to make me into what I need to be. And every time I go through a bad situation, I'm like, hey, I asked for it. I asked to be put under pressure. Let's go. How am I gonna resolve this? If I can't resolve these situations under pressure, imagine real life situations with kids and family and future and mortgages and all that other crazy shit. Bro, give me all the smoke. Put me under all the pressure and a diamond will come out. No questions asked. Hell of a ride. Yeah, and look. TP smacked. I take my piece and I get out. So we just had a 15-minute closure. The 15-minute closed bullish. The current 15 is flipping bullish now. We're breaking highs. If we can get a closure above here, a pullback, tap and VWAP, and then a rebreak, I can take more buys. It needs to pull back though and tap it. I have a buy stop here. Thank you for the subscription, CMR. I appreciate you, bro. Thank you. I really appreciate you for subscribing. I need some liquidity. How have you guys done so far tonight? USD JPY. I'll take a look at that after this trade. I'm break even here. It took me out. I'm gonna reattempt it though. I'm gonna have another buy stop here on the flip. We have 8 minutes for this 30. This 30's already hit a resistance. I'm actually gonna delete. I'm gonna wait for this 30-minute. That's nice. Take me out just to drive. That was my break-even point. So that gave 17 pips total. I'm up 20 pips for the session. If you're in a buy, we already tapped weekly support as you're in drawdown. If you took a buy like here, this is a weekly level. Just had a closure above, no top wick barely, bottom wick into a previous resistance. Yeah, bro, these buys look like they'll probably eventually play out. You'll probably get some drawdown and then eventually it'll pull back up. yeah, bro, you're good. This is the weekly low. Look at those buys, bro. Fuck, it took me out. What a bitch. 30-minute closure, 4 more minutes. Oh, I'm sorry, I said I was gonna have a buy limit there. I'm tripping. I had this muted. Yeah, this is a rejection off of VWAP. This is something I've been testing out a lot recently. And that's 10 pips. Let me go use the bathroom again. 30-minute close, 30-minute close respecting resistance is creating a bottom wick and rejecting again VWAP. That would have been another attempt at VWAP. You like that shit? Crazy. That's exactly what I did here. And then here, I took a sell stop on the break of this low instead of the wick, and I paid the price by being in drawdown. So all this is strong resistance across the board. You see how we have resistance here across the board, and we're at that struggle bus area. We respected 30-minute resistance. We came back. We're at a doji daily. What are we gonna do here? Are we gonna break to the upside or to the downside now? So because this is kind of like a pivot point, right? You could see it's like a pivot point. So because I use it as kind of like a pivot point, I'm like, all right, cool. With a massive downtrend like this, we should see a rejection here, a slight rejection, which every time that I sell off this level, I have a TP at like 15 pips. In this case, it popped 10 pips and I closed. Have a good night, have a good night, Vicky. So what are we gonna do here? This is the 30 re-breaking the highs. This is the 30 finally giving a high. Is it gonna wick fill up without giving a shit about closing above? That's very tough. So I would like it to close above, pull back, and then re-break to get a wick fill here. This is just a tough zone that we're in on the 4 hour. Look at how we're just in trash price action. This whole... If you were trying to trade the 4 hour, you would look at this and you'd be like, what kind of shitty range day is this? That's probably why we're seeing a lot of liquidity grabs to either end, because of the higher time frame is just looking so shitty. That puts me at 750 for the week in profit on this account. So, this is what my journey on the prop firm account has been. I made 2100, I lost 2k. I made back the 2k plus 600 bucks, then I lost 1300. And then I made that back now, and I'm back at $800 profit. 2 big fucking losses. Had I not taken those 2 losses that were 3,500 each, I'd be at like 5,000 profit in exactly 6 trading days. 5 G's in 6 trading days. That means that I would have hit payout by day 8. Oh, this is lagging. Let me delete. Let me close out and open it back up. And to be honest, the 2 losses that I took were both... I could have closed them way earlier. Why did I go into YouTube? I've been doing... This is a slow session, but I've been doing anywhere between like 200 and like 300 pips in a day. That's crazy. I have 7,500 of drawdown. So I took a 2K loss, made it back, and then I took a 1.3K loss and made it back. But yeah. This is where I got stuck on right here. I took a sell here. So look, I'll tell you my VWAP ID and everything. You guys can see it right here. So what was going on here? Price was underneath VWAP, rejecting. When we got the initial rejection here, this is where my failure was. I didn't set my sell stop, taking advantage of the 22 pips. I saw the second test and I took a sell here once it broke above. And then we closed and kept driving. There was no attempt, no pineapple was gonna save me anywhere here. Nowhere was I gonna be saved by a pineapple. So when these highs were broken here, is when I should have taken the full loss. Sorry, I did take the full loss there, but I pineappled all the way up through here. Whereas if it would have been 2 pineapples or 3, that would have been a max of like a $1,200 loss. This one would have been 700. This one would have been 100. That would have been $1,000 on the dot instead of 2,100. And then the other one was I took a short here. And I ended up taking the loss somewhere like up here. Look at that, we filled the range. As I was talking shit. Oh, we did that in a 2-minute candle. Nice. Yo, Jay, when is Wix gonna talk about his stop loss? Or did he talk about it on stream when I was not aware? He's like, I'm 60 pip stops on this one, 40 pips on this one, 70 on this one, and I'm like, what's going on here, bud?
When he took a loss when?
No, he was talking about, like, since he came back on stream, he's been having smaller stops.
Yeah, he's having smaller stops. He's managing risk. He decided last week while he was off to change a bit his strategy. And so he's also looking at different ways of managing risk to not put himself in bad positions and not take bad trades. So
hey, if
having massive drawdown.
If this is paid content, don't release nothing. Only what he's willing
to.
No.
Yeah. No. and instead of having massive drawdown of 150 pips or so, he just takes different entries at a different pace and manages them accordingly. So he's still going to usually close at 10, half the positions or 3/4, and then let a runner go to hit the TP, and then close maybe another 25% or so, and then so on and so forth. But he'll more than likely let things run. He'll leave runners now that we're in April going into May. The market should move a lot more that way. So that's what he's hoping for.
With futures, it's going to be easier for him to manage the runners, right? So let's say I take an entry, a buy here, and then I take another buy here when I'm in drawdown, right? And then once price comes up to here, I close. I usually take 3 contracts, so I close 5 contracts here, and then it'll leave 1 down here. Of the 3 that I opened here, it'll leave 1 here, and it'll close these break even, these in profit, 2 in profit. So in reality, 3 here closed at $0, 2 here closed at 82 pips, and then your 1 runner will be down here, 82 pips in profit. So what I've been doing lately with the trailing that runner, I've been moving it a little bit lower to a more structured point depending on where my entry was originally. So I'll risk a little bit of the profit, and then I'll move my, instead of, because the entry was originally like somewhere up here, the average, then I'll just move it down a little bit. I'm like, all right, it's a little bit more safe. My runner will last a little bit longer here. And I've done that. And with futures, it's a little bit easier to manage a runner that way, especially when it leaves your entry all the way down here.
Well, I'm new at futures, as you know. So if you have the 3 at the top and then the 3 at the bottom on the pineapple, how do you close the 3 at the top?
You can't. It depends on the broker. Can't. So it depends on the broker. If you're trading on MT5 will have with AMP, it'll have your individual positions open, I believe, on your broker. Yeah. So then you can, so instead of on your screen, it averages out. But I'm pretty sure it'll have individual positions when you go to like the other part of the screen on MT5 where you can see your active orders. So on
I don't use MT5 on futures. I use MT5 on forex.
Right, and it depends on the broker. So that's the only broker I know that does it, AMP. But Tradeovate and all the other ones will combine all your orders into one, and as you're closing partials, it closes the worst fills first. So if you have
the worst fills first,
right? Okay. So let's say you have an entry.
Oh, wow. Gold is moving. Sorry.
Holy shit. Let's say you have an entry 50 pips in profit, and then you have another entry minus 30. Let's give it an arbitrary number. Let's put 3 and 3. Right? And you close 5 positions to leave 1 runner. It's going to close the 30 in negative. It'll close all 3 of those positions in negative. It'll close 1 of the 1 in profit, and then it'll leave your 2 runners all the way down here in profit. So what you would have to do is then trail your stop to where your average entry was, and that way if it does hit that stop, that is basically where your profit in partials was, or your break even is. So that you have to manage it a bit different because it closes it a little bit differently. So you'll have these 2 will close in a loss, and then these 2 will stay open depending on how you close the partials. So
that's why I can hit break even automatically when the button appears, even though I closed half the positions. It just does it automatically. When I go back and take a look at the actual positions that were closed, sometimes I'll see minus 40 or minus 60 or whatever it is.
Yep.
And then 1 big position covering both.
Yep.
To get me. Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly how you'll see it, and that will affect your win rate if you're trying to upload your data, and that'll also affect your win rate. So like my win rate dropped like 8% because of like pineapples. So the win rate that I have on there is technically a much higher win rate because the pineapple is technically a win trade. But it all depends on how you want to talk about the trade. You can say I caught 2 entries, 10 pips, that's 20 pips. Or you could say I caught 1 loss for 30 and 1 win for 50, and add that to your stats as 1 loss for 30 and 1 win for 50, 20 pips.
Mm-hmm.
That's how your trading journal will say. So if you look at it and you're like, oh shit, I have kind of like a low win rate. It's most likely because of the pineapples. This is looking good for sells, but looks like it's just bouncing off the range. And now that we created a new high here, we're gonna be bouncing off a smaller range now. I think I'm kind of good. I think I'll probably call it. I don't know. Let me not be too ahead of myself. But yeah, the thing with futures is that it averages the positions. So that was a 5-minute closure below, a 15-minute closure below as well. How much did we get here? 40? And we're already up 23 here. What's this hourly looking like? Bearish closure on the hourly. We grabbed orders from all the way up there. The 30 is re-breaking its own low. We're breaking, we already broke that previous 5 low. Yeah, I'm gonna have a sell stop here. Oh, that wicked me in heavy. It like disappeared. It would be nice to get a position instant profit tonight instead of... Well, this one was instant profit. What am I saying? Let me stop being picky and telling the market what to do. I'm also in sales, SL. Don't worry. We're all in this together. No, 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 no. We're all in this together. Are you on futures, SL? It was a bad sell entry due to fumble fingers. I accidentally used 12 contracts. Don't worry, this is going to dump instantly 49,252 pips for us. Don't worry. The price of gold is going to plummet back to $1 tonight. Watch. Just know. Because that happened, tonight's going to be the night that gold dumps 9,000 pips. SL, that's exactly how I blew one of my 300k, not my one of my 300k evaluations. I was in like 4 positions, and then I went to change it from 1 to set like a runner TP, because I had runner TP set. I went to change it from a 1 to a 3, so that I can enter a pineapple. And then I entered the 3 without deleting the 1, and it entered 31 lots, averaged in to 35, and it instantly pulled back 20 pips, and 20 pips on a 35 lot is 7k, which is instant liquidation. I held it for like a second, and I'm like, no, please come back, please come back. If I close it now, I'll have like $1 of drawdown, and it just went. I kind of held it for a little too long, trying to be a little greedy, and it just destroyed me. My keyboard, I have to press the space bar to activate it. So if I don't press the space bar first to activate the keyboard, there's a possibility of whatever I typing not working out. So sometimes if I type in like one number, it might not activate, and then I might like press something wrong. So I have to like really be careful with my entries. Ugly 5. $15 Piparuskis, last trade of the night. That is 44, 45 pips for the session. My back. I'm carrying the weight of the world on my shoulders, and I need more. And I need more pressure, more smoke. Hell yeah, Nate got in and out of that trade 2 times. Nice. Hey.
Hey, he just closed. There's a mini resistance here at 33.23 on futures off the 15. Despite that, the 5 created a top with first for it to come back down. Do you think it can still fill the range, or it might
for sure
reject that look?
I definitely think it's
all the way down to 33.18, or reject that? Oh, look, it's moving.
Yeah, I think my target is 33.20 here. And then if it does hit 33.20 here, that's where I would have taken partials here, and then just let the final runner go. Because if right here is where it's do or die. So if it creates a little bit of resistance here or support here, and it can flip bullish again and be gay. But this is the do or die level. But I definitely think it's gonna come down to this level. So like where the entry was here, for me, depending on how late it is, because right now it's 10 p.m. for me. So if I wanted to leave a runner, I could have left a runner here, and the runner would have been up 26 pips right now. So it would have been, the runner would have been working. But I'm already up like 30, 40 pips for the night, and I just wanted to secure that. But during New York session, I do leave these runners. This morning I sent us another screenshot of like another 40, 50 pip runner that I caught leaving a 0.1. In New York session, I for sure 100% leave it there. So and the thing is that in New York, the pop is a little stronger. So instead of getting 10 pips, I'll get like 17 or 18. So I'll be closing 3/4 of the position there, and then leaving the final bit running. So that 3/4 is like 5 or 6 pips more profit-wise than catching 10 pips during Asian. So I'll catch like 17 pips, 18 pips, or 19 pips, 20, 21, 22. Like I post.
But if you're leaving if you're using a .3 lot or .3 or 3 contract, 0.3 technically,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're not really making that much on the runner.
It depends.
In the end,
For
right?
example, the runner that I just recorded a video on it. So I had 3 entries, and they hit 20 pips profit. So that was $40 on 2 of them, and then the runner ran for 50. So that's $90 on that trade.
The runners, you left it for 50%?
The runner, I left it and it hit 50 pips profit. So the runner, a .1 for 50 pips is $50. So the partials were closed for $40, and then the runner made me $50. So it made me $10 more than the partials, than the partial close.
So you use a 2 contract and then half, and then use 1 contract. Okay.
Yeah. So like tonight, I'm up $117 for the session. In the new, and so there's commissions involved there, but technically that's 39 pips after commissions. But every trade they take like 3 pips away. So I took like 4 trades today, so add another 12 pips. So technically 51 pips tonight. They take away like 3 pips. So that's what commissions are, about $3 per trade. So I technically just say 3 pips. See, this is the do or die level right here.
Look at it. It's breaking out. Yeah.
So when I like to look at this VWAP because this is like the average price that everybody's buying tonight. So everybody's got 1 million orders tonight, and then imagine all of the orders were averaged in, and this is the average order. So if that's the average order, what do people like to do when they're at break even? They like to either sell their orders, which causes price to dump depending on what direction you're going to, or it'll buy depending on more people like to buy more when they're at break even, thinking that price is going to go back up. That's just my thought process. So that's why I like to take wick entries here. And like since we tried to break out, failed, create a support here, tried to break out, failed again, and closed below. That's why I was like, all right, bet we're extremely bearish. We already created massive highs here. We failed to break the highs, and we're coming down below the average price that everybody's buying in. That sells. So I instantly took this sell, and that's why I'm much more I believe more firmly that it's going to fill the full range down because of its attempt already to break out twice and then closing below here. So to me, this is like, I would consider this like a weekly or daily support or resistance. Like it's just that strong.
So right now the 4 hour is going to close in about a minute, and there's a resistance that's always been bouncing off at 33.18, 33.17 on futures. We've got a very massive top wick on the 4 hour. This can obviously reject and come all the way back up.
Yeah, money printer on the 4 hour. Look how we're wedging here too.
Breaking.
Look how we're wedging here too. So like, look at these 4 hour candles these last few weeks, and then look at these 4 hour candles. Like that's why like it's hard. Like that's why I think we're going into more a drawdown on these trades, because this is 100% a bullish 4 hour candle. If you were taking buys anywhere in here, you would have been right the entire time. There would have been no drawdown on your buy entries here, no drawdown on your sell entries here. But look at this doji 4 hour, doji. So any buys or sells here, you would have likely seen drawdown because this candle didn't know where it was going to close. So buys or sells inside of this doji area is going to be tough. See how we're wedging here? So like, where's the breakout going to be? Where are we going to? So usually when price starts consolidating like this and like wedging, usually you get a massive dump to one side. And it's been doing that for a minute now. At least all of these 4 hour candles.
4 hours just closed on futures, no bottom wick. Created a bottom wick first. It closed right at resistance. Yeah, exactly. Right at resistance. Ugly, Nate, you're right. I mean, are you expecting this to range now? I mean, it just dropped from where we closed originally the last trade.
It depends.
80 pips?
This 15-minute candle could be the gladiator candle that starts to break us out.
Yeah, I'm want to take a buy, but I'm not too sure. Yeah, there you go, Nate, saying the same thing. I want to take a buy, but I'm not too sure because it can just break all the way back down for no reason and just drop.
See what we did here on the daily high? Yeah, if we can do something like this, I would be interested in going back into range. But
doing something like what? Show me again. I missed it.
On the daily high here, how like this was the breakout, it pulled back, it gave us that push, and then it pulled back incredibly hard, closing back below and coming back down. If it's something like that, then I would be interested. It would have to be like a super sharp reversal like that. But this did it off of all of these previous highs here and these levels here. But where is this going to do it from? Is it going to just range from? It's either going to range here between these levels, or it's going to find the next strongest level to flip bullish off of, which is down here. So this is a 4-hour level. I mean, holy shit, that's far. Maybe not down there. Probably here. I didn't see this level here. So we might get a 4-hour bottom wick steep as hell before that 4-hour gives you that money printer, because it is a 4-hour. So like, is the 4-hour going to money print within the first hour, or is it going to money print within the second, third, or fourth hour? So look, we're getting that sharp rejection. There's just no...
Yeah.
So like, yeah, money printer is not bad, because if it is going to dump, that 4 hours is going to give you a top wick.
I mean, it kind of... Yeah.
Yeah, it would have...
It gave you a small one of 10 pips, but not enough. I don't know. I don't know if buys would be decent, or if it's going to just create the top wick to come all the way back down, even though it created the bottom wick first on the 4-hour.
Damn, this pullback is 32 pips. So it's like, you know, certain things need to happen so you can take trades in anticipation of those certain things. So you know that 4 hours eventually going to need a top wick. So you could have taken a buy at the 4-hour opening and then waited for whatever to happen to eventually get your top wick and get out in profit. Like these 4-hour ranges are 200 pips, so you really don't have to sit through a whole shit ton of drawdown before you get that 4-hour top wick. It's like, you know, you need that 4-hour top wick before coming down. We just respected on all of the time frames here, so you know you need more liquidity probably before price breaking out. So it's like, you know, you need that pullback, so buys are probably not bad, knowing you need that top wick on the 4-hour. Yeah, that was a clean money printer, especially. But it's like you're saying, it's like when you have that feeling where something is sus, and you're like, are we gonna break all the way through? Because we're also at the next pivot point. This is the final wick all the way down here. That if it doesn't break, if it doesn't respect this, it's coming down all the way to these levels down here. But yeah, look, if it is going to come back down, you know you're going to have that break, pull back to previous support, turning it into resistance before coming back down. So taking buys here, knowing you had to come back to here. So buys weren't bad. It's just depending on how you looked at it. Like if I had, like I said, if I would have had this pushback here, we closed back into range. This right here, beautiful buys on the flip of this candle, because we had something similar to this. We closed respecting these levels here. 4-hour money printer, you know that 4-hour needs a top wick. So yeah, buys weren't bad. It's just hesitating on a 4-hour candle. You're better off just going to sleep and coming back tomorrow morning and saying, alright, bet I made money tonight. Next time, I'm gonna take that fucking trade. Next time, I'm not gonna be like, but what about this 1 minute? But what about this? Like, this all happened to me earlier when I was looking for sells. I was like, but what about this 3-minute candle? And I'm like, everything else is telling me sells, you dumbass. Why'd you delete the sell stop? But the 3-minute candle. And then it dumps. And then I catch the next leg down, which is not an issue. But it's like, because a 3-minute candle, I'm like, bro, I only look at the 2 and the 3-minute just to add extra confluence to like the celery play that I'm looking at. So if I'm looking at like a a money printer, like right here. See how in the 3 minute you have the money printer the opposite way, using the previous support, turning it into resistance. That would kind of deter me from taking buys, and then I would wait. All right, cool. This is probably a small 3 minute money printer. You're probably gonna get a slight little pullback. If it is gonna be bullish, you're gonna get another retest of the lows before coming back up because of the way this money printed on the 3 minute. Usually that money prints on the 3 minute to come fill the next previous candle. So now that you have a 2 minute candle like this, now you have a 2 minute money printer going the other way. So I use those to say, okay, at what point in this movement are we gonna break out finally?
Well, here, for example, on the five pulls, top wick after creating a bottom wick first, the new five open bottom wick first. Is this the point where, since it's no longer retesting the low, this is the point where it's going to come back up to retest all the highs at 33 or something like that? Or how much more of a structure do I need to be able to see before I can actually get more confirmation on that part instead of it coming all the way back down?
So like highs and lows, the way it creates them are a little bit different, but like look at how much we ranged here before fully reversing for the day. Like that's a lot. Like for this,
I mean, usually when it comes down quickly, it's a sign that, you know, there's not much structure and that it should be reversing at some point.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what I've noticed.
It for
It
sure.
came down pretty quickly.
But like for example, that's exact. So like that thinking is 100% valid. But sometimes, depending on how gold is, bro, like right here, when we had this takeoff off this level, this should never. No, where was this? No, this was the last week takeoff. It was the one last week that I lost a shit ton of money on. But it just never came back. It ran 800 pips, bro, and it never came back. It pulled back like 100 pips out of the 800 pip range. Like that's not enough to get me out of the pineapple. So I had to take the loss. So when I've been looking at gold, I'm like, all right, bro, these drives sometimes can be infinite. So I start looking at like higher time frame levels to bounce off of, and that's when I can start getting those pullbacks that you're talking about. So if we do drive hard and we smack an hourly support, that makes the most sense to get that pullback like we did now. That 4 hour came down, and where we tapped here, this is an hourly level. So it's not necessarily how much do we need to see, it's where do we tap on the way as it's driving. Where do we tap? So like for example, when we're driving hard and we hit VWAP here, I'm gonna have a sell stop here because it's basically like what you're saying. Price is driving with no pullback. Eventually it's gonna need a pullback. Where is the most likely place for the pullback? I'm gonna attempt a pullback here on the VWAP, or you can attempt a pullback on a higher time frame level. So that's what I start to look for. Because like the other day when it ran, like where was my trade? I don't even remember where the trade was. But when it ran and it just never came back, I'm like, all right, when's this pullback coming? I was like, all right, no, I just have to take the loss. Because I was anticipating that.
So what are you seeing here?
Where? Here?
I mean,
when I took sells here?
It's trying to retest the low. This is a good sell if it breaks the lows. If not, is it looking to reject and come all the way back up?
Oh, dude, if this re-breaks the low, that looks good. See, because we closed respecting here. So my breakout entry, now this is the low all the way here. Price would have to dump down, pull back, and then do this. It has to create structure on the way down the same way it did it right here. So you see how right here we had that pullback and we came down, and then we had that other pullback. So pretend this support here is the same thing as this support here. So you're like, all right, for me to re-break the daily low, or the daily low, sorry. For me to re-break that daily low the same way we did it here, I need to see at that daily low this form and then the breakout. So since we've already tried that and we pulled back, I need to see structure forming here, pull back, and then re-break. So like look over here how when we made that high, we came down and then we retested this little gap that we had here, a little resistance. We came down and now we just made a little shoulder here, and now we're coming back up the same similar style that happened here at the daily high. So that's why when you're at the daily highs, you got to see where you're tapping into before taking that continuation. It has to be into clean range when there's nothing open. So like here, this one already hit pretty much the whole range, and there's nothing left for it to take a continuation. So here I wouldn't be able to take a rebreak of the high because the range here is like, it's trash compared to the rebreak of the high here where the range is 38 pips. So like here we hit this hourly low.
I mean, that was a massive candle. That was a massive 1 minute candle that we saw here when we rejected at 33.17 and it stopped at 33.22. So are we looking at this as possibly something that's going to be ranging for the rest of the night?
You see, yeah. And then the thing is that the range, so well, how we noticed earlier that price was wedging, that means that the highs are going to continue to get lower and the lows are going to continue to get higher. So it's just going to continue, the range is going to continue to get smaller and smaller and smaller. It's going to look like this. It's going to look like this.
Yeah. I mean, I'm seeing a W on
like,
double bottom, W on the one, but I don't know if...
Yeah, so like...
Even though we had a strong support there.
This...
Sorry, it was...
Yeah, I see what you're talking about. Especially now that we're closing back in range, you're getting that 4-hour money printer. So like, what candle are we filling? Do we have any candles that don't have tops or bottom wicks in this range here? We have a bit. So I mean, like here on the 5 minute, not having a wick here and like really like rejecting like that annoys me.
Oh, yeah, can come back down anytime.
Yeah, so it can like maybe see how we only have a W on the 1 minute. Maybe it'll do it on the 5 minutes. So if we get a closure, a pullback, and then a rebreak of this level, that would be clean to take some buys. Like, oh, I guess we're doing that right now on the 1 minute.
Yeah, I have my level at 33.23.
So like
22.9.
So right here, how we made the high, we came down, we made the low, and we never really rebroke too far. We still respected all these levels to the left here. Is this high, next high, is it going to reach all the way up here, or is it going to be much, much further down? So that's where, like, if your entry is down here, you got range before you find out if it's going to wedge or not, or if it's going to break out and continue driving up. So yeah, scalping this range bullish after closing back in range with this kind of volume is not bad. But like when I see volume like this, I want to see closures above and below ranges to fully verify that we're breaking out. Like see how we were breaking down here pretty fast, and we had the idea that are we just gonna sell and re-break the low here? Like it could have, but the higher probability is let it fill the range, form a little bit of support here, and then re-break it to really confirm. All right, it doesn't give a fuck that this is a support. But usually, what do you know about the daily high or the daily low? Once you make that high, price doesn't touch that high because it's the daily high. So it's never going to come back to that daily high if it is, or the daily low if it is the low of the day or the high of the day. So instead of taking a sell to here to retest that daily low, I would have rather break it and attempt a new low and catch the range for the new low instead of trying to retest the low that's already there. Because if this is the low for the day, price is not going to come back and touch this, and it's just going to continue bullish for the rest of the session. If it is the actual low, the same way here. If this is the actual top of the market, price is not going to come back. It tried to come back, it's just not. If this is the actual high for the session, it's not going to come back. So to avoid it not coming back there, I wanted to see this and then re-break that low for sells here. So that's why buys looks a little bit cleaner, especially the way it's forming now. Yeah, all your buys idea are looking clean.
Yeah, 15 closing right now with a top wick, and U15 opened with bottom wick first.
One second, I'm about to end the
stream. Could be interesting.
Yeah, so I'm gonna end stream here. Great session, bro.
Thanks, Eddie.
No problem, bro. Yeah, bro. I hope that makes sense, bro, because that's the way that I see things. I'm like, all right, if price is driving hella fucking fast like this, where's the next pullback? I'm already above VWAP, so I'm not going to take an entry to VWAP. So I'm like, all right, where's the next entry? A 4-hour level. I looked at the 4-hour level, bro. That was a perfect 4-hour, perfect 1-hour level 4-hour money printer. So you're like, all right, bet I'm gonna trust the higher time frame that we're gonna get a pullback on this 4-hour, the 4-hour money printer, and then this was a very, very nice trade. But yeah, bro. Have a good night, everybody. I appreciate you guys for showing up. Drop a like before you roll out. We caught 50 pips tonight, 40 something pips after commissions.